So you think I'm some kind of mercenary?
It just makes Qui-Gon look like a bitch. He must have had anaphylaxis to lightsabers.
I'm a Mandalorian. Weapons are part of my religion. This is the way.
Who asked for this?
I asked for this.
I have a bad feeling about this. You're listening to Red Mandos, a Shatterpoint podcast. If you're the kind of person that wants polish, this is definitely not the podcast for you. We aim to give hard-hitting and kind of like underground takes on Shatterpoint. Probably not. With me, as always, is Red Mando 2. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing well, Red Mando 1. Good to be back. It's been a while. Three weeks, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while since we've recorded, and we're so rusty, and it's going to be super off the cuff tonight. So
That's what people are listening
that's what
for.
they're here for, surely. Yeah.
Like if they want scripts and stuff, they're listening to Hello There. They're listening to Space Slugs. They're not listening to us.
Nah, script. What's that? We have an idea of what we want to say, and then we just make it up on the way and get super distracted. This is the way. We have a lot to talk about though tonight, don't we?
We do, and I think that's why we left it so long, because we knew that there'd be tons to talk about. Just like, this is the thing. Every freaking Shatterpoint content creator is going to be covering the exact same stuff. So I don't think that we're actually going to give people anything new, right?
No, we're just going to speculate the best. That's what we have to do. We have to speculate better than other people.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, everyone else is probably going to just give you facts. Fuck that.
We're just giving you dodgy hot takes.
Extremely dodgy. We're going to tell you how Veers will play, and then don't be disappointed when we're wrong.
Yeah, because we've got no inside information.
I wish, like we said last time.
Too.
Yeah, and then because I will just make cardboard cutouts of characters and play them on the kitchen table, but we don't get to.
Don't you mean TTS? I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, that's a touchy point for you at the moment. We're gonna start with our Shatterpointed segment. So how have we been going in Shatterpoint since we've last met? Why don't you tell everyone? Why don't you kick it off?
With what I've been doing? Well, look, I've done no hobby. I've just been an absolute slack bastard, which people get into this. That's what happens sometimes. I've not painted anything. Yeah, I know. I just I got Cad Bane to 80% done. I got Grand Inquisitor done. I finished off my fifth brother. I still have Asajj at 50% done. Put together a bunch of the Ewoks, but they're all just sort of blue tack to the base. I haven't really done anything with them. Which I feel, you always feel guilty about because, you buy all these lovely models and then you just don't do anything on it. But that's what happens. In terms of playing, I've played my Tuesday nights probably 2 weeks ago, and then I played my Thursday nights 2 weeks ago, and then I got sick again from a Paddy's Day thing. So then I was out kind of last week and didn't get to play anything in person. We did have a 1 day 3-round event at Combat Company.
Yeah, we did. You went 3-0, right?
I did. We did play something just sort of like funsies list. So it was you could change your list every round. It wasn't like you were locked in. And what did I take? I took Cad Bane and Anakin, which I call the Anakin show because it's just all about Anakin.
Eat everything into him.
That's it. And that's basically what happened. Anakin, I played against Ewoks and he bullied Chirpa twice. So he killed Chirpa twice, and he actually won the game by killing Chirpa and getting swinging, not getting extra momentum, but swinging the scoring block towards me. So that was fun. And then I played our mate Jeff, and I took Vader 1 and GI, and won there as well. I think. GI, we always rag on GI because he's got 5 dice ranged attack. So he one-shot the arfs with the 5 dice.
No way! Oh wow!
When I played my previous TTS game in the league, and it took me 3 attacks to kill the arse. And then GI just throws his lightsaber. I wasn't even going to do it. I was like, what's the point of 5 dice? And then I'm like, I'll do it anyway because I've got Fifth Brother there. And Fifth Brother can expose him. So Fifth Brother exposes him, and then GI one-shot them. And it was funny.
More of that. More of that.
Yeah, more of that. And then for the last one, what did I went with Maul and Dooku, which is pretty. Yeah,
Classic.
it's like it's a classic tough list. But I was like, because I was trying to decide if that was something that I was going to take for this the elimination round for TTS, but I didn't in the end. And then when I played my game, I just had a horrible TTS experience and conceded because I realized I just hate playing on TTS. I understand people. It's great if you can't afford to play or you can't play in person. Like if you're for whatever reason you can't play people in person, then it's good for that. But for me, I feel like I'm fighting against the mod more than I am enjoying playing Shatterpoint. So it's probably not a thing for me. But yeah, so that's been my Shatterpoint for the last 3 weeks. How about you, Mando on?
What have I done? I've painted up Plo. I painted up something else. One thing I can't even think.
You did your Vader, but I think you did that
No, I
before
had done
the
that last
the
time.
last one.
Yeah, I think it was just Plo, maybe. I can't even remember. It's been so long. I haven't really got anything on the painting desk because of obviously other commitments. And in terms of games, yeah, I've been playing some on TTS just against mates, and then I went to that one day event where I went the opposite to you. I don't think I won a single game, so that's the way that.
Didn't you go 1 and 2? I think you went 1 and 2.
I don't know. Look, the first game I played against myself, and I lost to myself.
You were playing a mate and showing them the ropes.
Yeah, I was showing him the best. So I gave him the Maul Dooku squad, and I was showing him, the best moves to make and what Maul can do and how effective he can be. And Django, he does all this other stuff as well on the other side of the board. So I was kind of showing him the ropes, and I took a less than optimal squad, and so. It was obviously about showing the ropes, but that obviously goes down there as a loss.
But that's the plan. That's the way that you should do it, right? If you're introducing somebody to the game, you show them all the cool things about the game, and you don't
You
want
want
to
to
stomp.
sell it? Oh
You don't
no, of
want to
course
stomp
not.
them, right?
No,
Yeah.
no, no,
So
no. No, definitely not.
It was a tactical loss. Is
It
the
was
way
a
that I
tactical
see it.
loss to get to build the community.
That's it.
Yeah, that's right. Make him feel like he can beat me anytime he wants. But so I did that, and then the second game, you're right. I did win the second game, and then the last game, I honestly hate to blame dice, but I feel like it kept me out of the game.
I mean, look, dice happen. That's why we play. That's why we play games with random elements, rather than just playing chess.
So Vader won and Rex took my first 2 activations, and they both together, including all the extra dice and an expose from ARFs, couldn't kill an Ahsoka. So
Sneak, right?
a
It was sneak.
little Ahsoka, a little Ahsoka. So I think like Vader left her on 1, and then when Rex activated, he moved an ARF trooper up to be in range of her to expose her, and then Rex himself moved and took a shot, and I thought, I'll get her, and then Vader will win the point. And then, Rex completely whiffed and did nothing, even with the expose. And she had like 1 health left. So it was a little bit disheartening there. And then he just held 4 points, and I just couldn't take anything off him. And then second struggle, the card favored. The situation favored where he already was, no matter which kind of situation I had, because he had both edge points. And the middle one wasn't on. I put I forget who in the middle, expecting the middle one to be on, and then it wasn't on. So sometimes you just get really unlucky, and it was just a shame because I was playing Jeff, and I always have good close games generally, I suppose, against Jeff, even though I don't really ever beat him. Because
You did beat him. You did beat him recently though, online. I remember.
That was just a test game. He was testing out a squad that was suboptimal. He was playing it for the first time, so I don't really think we can count that.
Fair.
Yeah, so Jeff always knows how to beat me. He's just one of those guys. I don't know if I'm allowed to mention his name on the podcast because he might get in trouble, but
Look, I think we could call him Jeff. It could be a different Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff.
Who
They don't know
knows?
which Jeff we're talking about. That's right. Yeah,
He could. He's actually a chef. You know.
Chef Jeff from
Yeah,
Italy. Yeah.
that's right.
All right. That's right. That's what we're gonna say.
Yes, Jeff.
Yeah, just Jeff. And then that's about it for me. I haven't really done much, and I feel a bit slack. And that's mainly because of Helldivers. That's a PlayStation game that's out. So I'm
Oh,
actually.
mate, and did you? So I've bought. Look, this is off on a tangent. I bought it and I just can't get into it.
What? It's awesome. I love
I
it. Are you
can't get
playing with
into it.
friends though? That helps when you play with
Well,
friends.
I have played a couple of times with some friends. Jesse,
Yeah.
we know Jesse. I just can't get into it. It just doesn't do it for me.
It does it for me. It's
That's
so
fair.
good. It's
That's
just
fair.
me and my mate. It feels like I'm back in year 10 playing, with my like Call of Duty with my friends. Like it's so good.
That's
I
good.
love it.
No, like it should be the kind of game that I like. Like it's cooperative against the computer. It should be what I like. But I've played it and I've played, I don't know, 6 or 7 missions, and I'm just like, it's kind of boring. It's just not doing it for me. Maybe
That's
if I
right.
got to like played harder missions, then it'd be more. But anyway,
Maybe. Anyway.
it's not a Helldivers podcast.
It could be fucking whatever. Like if you're listening this far and you haven't turned us off yet, thank you. Yeah, really. Look, we are going to get into Adepticon. I think the first question.
Is that the order card that we've turned over?
Oh, I have. Do we want to reserve it?
No, I reckon we do it. I think we'll
Come
have
on.
to throw the shout out to our 2 patrons at some point, but we can do
So
that
I
later.
think, yeah, and we can obviously. I mean, one of our patrons has given us some
Ask
really,
some
really good
questions.
questions
Yeah.
for today. So we can shout him out there. And just before we shout him out, I guess we shout the other one out.
All right. Sounds good.
Cool. So, in terms of Adepticon, obviously heaps of reveals. What I want to start with, though, and I think it's just a little bit of a, a project or a passion of mine, really, is just having a look at some of the data that's come out of the. I think I said data weird, but whatever. Come out of the premiere event that they held. We have. It's an American event, and only really Americans were there.
So how did they do how was the event run?
So it was a premiere event. So
Yeah.
obviously you take your 4 separate strike teams, or is it 4 separate squads that make up a strike team?
Squads. Yeah, squads.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
cool.
terminology kills me. So the 4 separate squads that make up a strike team, and then obviously you need to play at least each squad once. The squads that form up your strike team. Did you have any other questions?
And so how many rounds did they play?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So they played originally they played 4 games, and then the players that were 4-0 made the top cut, and then from the top cut they played until there was 1 undefeated, which only took a total of 3 games to decide that result. Obviously, that's what 8 people gets you. So yeah, that is the format they used, and there's some pretty interesting. I find interesting anyway, the data that comes out of the American meta. If we look to, if you go to Longshanks, you can see all this data. It's all available for you. If you're just looking at the primaries taken, the primary unit breakdown from Longshanks data, I keep saying data.
Say it however you like, man.
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know.
I
Don't
would
sound weird.
say data. I say data.
There you go. From the Longshanks
Data's the
data.
American way, isn't it?
Data. I don't know.
I don't know.
Something.
I'm trying to remember my Star Trek: The Next Generation now.
Yeah, right. Data. I think
Picard calls him data.
Data. Yeah.
But then I think don't the Yanks call him data? I don't know. I call it data.
Let's go data. So we've got the most popular primaries, with 28 players bringing them each, is going to be obviously Count Dooku and Lord Maul, both obviously dark side affiliated there. Then your next 3 most popular primaries are Mother Talzin, Vader 1, and General Grievous. So the top 5 primaries taken are all dark side, and I think that suggests a lot possibly about the American meta. You've got a really high value on attrition and reactives. Ahsoka had
Well, yeah. So if you say if you're
Go on.
saying Dooku's number 1, so he's
Yeah.
obviously reactive.
Dooku played the most games. He was taken by the most players, but played
And
64 games overall, whereas Lord Maul only played 52 games.
Only
I
50.
say only, but yeah.
But yeah, so I think that it's interesting. I think Dooku's been strong everywhere though, right? Like he's
That's right. Yeah, look, Dooku's made
and
up.
Maul's a beast. Everybody.
Yeah, because he's got so much he can do. He's so fast and he can just pull people off. He's got that diceless displacement that kind of guarantees you can win a point, unless you're running Dark Troopers. They're another question entirely. Yeah, I just think it's a really interesting way to look at it because a lot of the Republic gets undervalued. Obi-Wan is the sixth most popular primary there, but he's playing 7 games less than the fifth most popular, which is General Grievous. Obi-Wan makes up 30 games, and that's less than half of Count Dooku. So, it's. I think Republic is a little underdone. I don't think they're necessarily that bad. This goes to a question asked by
A
Duravar.
listener.
Yeah, Duravar, a listener. And he says, why are Americans so bad at playing Republic? I
It's
just think they devalue the defensiveness of the Republic. The Republic. It seems that they play a really attrition-heavy game just based on these stats. And if you look at the top cut, so this is just all players bringing things. Like all players probably going to want to bring Dooku. He's a great player, a beginning player character because he's really easy to use. He's extremely defensive, and he's got a lot of these reactives which help give you the benefits. But if we look at the top players in the top cut, out of the top 8 players, only one player brought all Republic as a strike team, and another player brought half Republic, which was Obi Mace. So 6 of 8 players didn't even bring the good guys at all. So I think they really, really devalue the defensive structure that the Republic brings, and that maybe is because they're really squishy. Those clones, only having 7 health for the most part, apart from the Wolf Pack. And I know obviously Commandos have 6, but with protection, let's just call it 7, right? Yeah, I think it's a really interesting stat to look at that they're really, really focused on doing the murders, but they don't like
Well,
the
I
Republic.
think and I think maybe the doing the murders thing also plays into the other aspect, which is the reactive play, right? So their meta kind of the focus on attrition drives the other half of their strike team selection, which is the reactive. So that's why you see Dooku consistently up there. You see Mother up there a lot. So if we're looking now, the top 4 people have Dooku and Mother in there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, which is interesting. I wonder how often they play the two of them together, or if they're playing, like more Mother, Dooku, and something.
Well, there is a way to see.
That's true.
So the
There you
last
go.
game, the game that decided the game that decided who won. So Matthew Butcher is the name of the player that won Adepticon, and congratulations to him because that was a huge event. I think 53 players in total, which is massive for a game that's only like 7 months old. And he took Dooku Mother into Dooku Asajj to win, and he only did 3 wounds overall in that game and
Suffered
managed to get a
5,
win.
yeah.
Suffered
And
5, but that
yeah,
probably helps him out because Mother and Dooku get to do
that's
things
right.
when
Yeah,
and suffering
it does.
5 wounds. So
And
yeah,
Ice Mine. I don't
yeah,
know.
Iceman.
Ice Mine,
Yeah.
Iceman. He took Dooku Asajj, and I think the issue there is Asajj is so squishy.
Oh yeah, 9 health and
9 health, she's so
yeah,
squishy.
not a lot of once you
Yeah,
get
so
exposed by
you
the
know,
girls.
yeah.
Yeah,
in-
it's just an interesting thing to note. So that's all I really wanted to touch on with the Adepticon results because you're going to hear about it heaps if you're listening to us. There's going to be more serious podcasts that break it down. I think I just wanted to touch on it. We wouldn't be doing Shatterpoint justice if we missed it, right?
That's true. Like it's the biggest Shatterpoint event, right? I mean, I guess maybe you say that the online TTS league, yeah, but I think to me this is the real Shatterpoint. It's the tables were laid out by AMG, right? So you're playing on AMG tables.
That's right.
You're playing in person. You're playing only stuff that's been released physically. So yeah, this would have been so far the biggest
The event,
Shatterpoint
yeah.
event. Yeah. So look,
Just a
I
quick,
think as you said, well done, Matthew Butcher, for winning. Good work, mate.
yeah, and I hope we're not butchering your name. That wasn't a pun, but it was.
Hey, I thought it was.
No, I didn't. It wasn't even intentional
He's
because
like,
it could be like Buka. I don't know.
Buka? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Just a quick thing. You mentioned the table setup or laid out by AMG. What do you think of the kind of stock standard just gantries everywhere kind of thing? Is that something you like, or how do you feel about it?
Oh, I guess it's a kind of an interesting question. And maybe it's just playing into my bias, but I think that's the terrain that we've got, and that's the terrain that generally people are playing on.
Mhm.
I actually like it. And why I like it is because it allows for a lot of verticality and it allows for a lot of depth. And when I say depth, you can have stuff at multiple levels
Yeah.
in occupying the same space. So I kind of like it versus when I look at a lot of the TTS maps, they're very it's like they've got planes that don't interact with each other. So it's like you'll have a building that just occupies a space and the building is solid and you're either on top of the building or you're off the building. And I feel like the TTS maps are more MCP like than they are Shatterpoint like. Because
Sure.
for
Yeah.
me, when I say Shatterpoint like, I'm saying the official terrain that is released for the physical game. And I feel that that physical terrain is part of what AMG are trying to achieve with the game, right? They're not making it. If they wanted it to be MCP like, they would have made the terrain MCP like, but they purposefully didn't do that. They did lots of gantries that allow you to overlap and have people at different elevations occupying the same space. So to me, I think it looked really cool. I saw some of the pictures on Facebook. I'd like to see some of the other layouts as well because the ones that I did see were very sort of like square kind of looking, if that makes sense. They weren't sort of offset at all. So I'd like to
Yeah.
see if they also had tables that were offset. I know somebody who was over there and he said they did. They had a whole bunch of tables that were offset. So I'd like to see some of the other alternative layouts that they had.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on the terrain?
Look, I like obviously it's fantastic. Top tables should be like that, but the sameness kind of gets to me. Everyone loves Star Wars because of the huge variety it has, and that's like why we love the characters, right? And all these squads, and we can make up such a variety of squads, and I just want to see that reflected in the boards. Like I know at CanCon, I mean, you and I provided uh, a lot of it, and I know there was other people who brought stuff, and I think there was a few boards that kind of looked like a bit different, and I really like that because Star Wars has such a huge variety. I think we're at the moment it's a little trapped in gantries. Like you don't go to Kashyyyk Beach and just there's just gantries everywhere, right? And I know that it
Yeah,
helps
yeah.
with the multiple levels. I just want to see, and I know people are printing like 3D printing stuff, and that's fantastic. I just want to see maybe more variety in the types of terrain we get to interact at multiple levels. People more creative than I, hopefully are kind of working on it. I know there's a bunch of 3D printing happening, but I just think the sameness is going to get to me eventually, maybe,
Yeah, no,
just because
I
you
hear
look
you. Like,
across the room and there was like
and they're
30
all the
tables
same.
and it's all just the same terrain and it's just like how
That's
often do
true.
you go to different Star Wars locations and you see the same buildings repeated, and that's like never. Like there's such pride in the different environments, and it's just like Star Wars has such amazing world building and it's just not reflected yet. But look, it's a game in its infancy. All right, I know AMG have huge plans in the pipeline for terrain. We know that they're releasing that garage, so that's going to add even more to the game. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
like
I think I do agree with you though. No, you make some good points. Like it'd be cool, and you've seen it. Like there's like the Ewok Village
yeah,
3D printed thing. That's cool. But if you break it down, it's kind of different types of gantry,
no,
right?
and
So
that's fine. I just want it to look
yeah,
like
yeah, just
the
look
terrain
different.
can be. I just need, yeah, just to break up that monotony and really reflect the variety of Star Wars galaxy. That's really all I'm asking for. I know it's a lot to ask for, but come on.
But no, I think it's fair. I think, you know, I guess I can kind of see why they've gone with this because it is quite flexible, right? That you can, this terrain, and I've seen people paint the terrain, the core terrain that's out now in a variety of different fashions, and it works so well. You know, like people go, oh, I'm building a, you know, a lava planet. and then they paint it up and it looks great on a lava planet. And then somebody else goes, I'm building an ice planet, and they paint it up to look like ice. And I'm like, it looks great there. And then somebody else goes, I'm building, I don't know, Yavin base
Sand?
or
Oh,
something, or
okay, there you go.
sand,
Yep.
or, like there's lots of different things, but it all works pretty well because I think a lot of the time, I get what you're saying, that there is a vast variety of different types of terrain depicted in Star Wars media. But a lot of the time, if you think about what's happening, some rebels or whatever are breaking into an Imperial base, or the Jedi are assaulting a droid position. Like the terrain kind of fits those scenarios that I
Yeah,
think that
that's a
they're
fair
trying
call.
to
That's a fair call.
that's the kind of scenario that they're trying to depict. They're not trying to depict. It's not Legion, like it's not. We've got this massive battle with tanks and flyers and blah 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 blah, and you want to have like different hills and all that. Like I don't think that that's kind of the terrain or the scenarios that they're trying to depict in Shatterpoint. They're trying to depict those smaller things, those smaller scenarios. But yeah, I agree. It'd be great to get some different types of terrain, and I expect it'll happen. Like I'd love to see. You've got in there the take cover pack. There's like those little rock sort of pillar things.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
love them to expand on that so that we
Just
get some.
scatter.
Yeah, but like get some bigger like rock pillars or whatever, right?
Yeah,
Or
nice. Yeah.
so that you can break it up and have
Trees.
stuff that trees would be cool. But maybe they're like, who wants to buy a box with 4 trees in it? Like maybe they're like, nobody's gonna buy that. People will print it. I don't know. Who knows what they're thinking?
Yeah, yeah. Just go outside, break off a branch, stick it in your table. Yeah. Cool. Well, we're gonna kind of cover that off there because everyone is going to be talking about these reveals from
Ooh.
Adepticon. Yeah, and that's what everyone's excited for. We're going to cover off these reveals. I think we're going to start with the Iden box.
Yeah. Well, are we giving it the official name?
You can. I don't
I
have.
can't be bothered. Let's just call it the
Fuck it.
item box.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
everyone's going to call it, the Iden box.
If you want
What's
the
it called?
official name,
Rebels died today or something?
something like that. Yeah. Look, one thing I did want to say is that we saw this before though, right? Like we saw at least the models were
Yeah, the
teased
models were revealed, I
before.
think maybe even last Adepticon.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting that we're still seeing stuff that they revealed last year.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting.
Well, I mean, we've got now her character card. What are you thinking?
So look, I think she's going to be interesting. I think it'll. One of the things that I think we want is, well, maybe me, and I know other people. I know you love the Jedi, so you want to see Jedi everywhere. But I think that there's other people who are like, I just like people with blasters.
Yeah.
Right, like they don't necessarily want to see sabers everywhere. So I think it's kind of cool now with Iden coming out, and we've got Gideon, and we've got other ones that we'll talk about in a second. Oh, not a second, literally, but later. Um, so it's kind of cool that there are options now for Empire players to say, I just want to have some people with blasters, and they'll go up against your Jedi or they'll go up against whatever. So I think from that aspect, it's cool.
Yeah.
In terms of what she's bringing, I think she's got a lot. Like I think she's got nothing on there that I look at is like this is terrible. Like
Yeah, it's nothing's useless.
yeah, so I like my main concern would be the 9 whatever it is it stamina or health or whatever. 9
The
health.
red one.
Yeah, the red one, the health.
The one that
I'm gonna
goes the
call it.
highest.
Yeah, I'm
because
gonna call it
if you had
health, right?
fucking 9 heartbeat symbols, yeah, that's fucked. That's
The
just
other
fucked.
one's durability, I think it is. I don't know.
Oh, whatever
Anyway,
it is.
the 9 health. That would be my only concern with her is that she's kind of squishy. Like we talked about before, that Asajj is pretty squishy because she's only got 9 health.
Yeah.
But like everything that she's got on there, so she's got some out of activation movement for somebody else and herself. Everybody always loves that. She's got a 1 force for a dash, but as part of that, she also gets a focus and sharpshooter.
That's
Man,
insane.
amazing. That's great.
Insane.
I think the Seeker droid thing,
Anti-Kenobi tech.
yep.
It's super
It's
anti-kinetic.
really good to get rid of hunkers because she's got a gun, and I'm assuming she's going to be focused and she's got sharpshooter, so she wants to shoot stuff, but
Yeah.
it always kind of sucks if you're like, oh, I'm shooting with my 7 dice and hammer. Oh, you've got 7 defensive dice because you've got 2 hunkers, and you've got cover. Awesome, right? Like that's never fun, and this kind of is a way of getting around that. So again, it's pretty good. Potentially, I think the other thing with it is that it's got extra utility because the way that it works is you choose an enemy within 3 and it removes all its hunkers. But if it doesn't have any hunkers, you expose it. So I'm like, that's great, right? Like you either are removing hunkers, which is not just helping you, but helping the rest of your team attack them, shoot them, whatever. But also potentially giving an expose on it. And I think in particular, when I was talking about before, is like if you're wanting to have a force that doesn't have any sabers in it, particularly if you're going up against like Republic, a lot of the time their primaries don't get hunkers very easily.
Yep.
Right? Obi does, but a lot of the time they don't get hunkers. So this is a great way to go have an expose before I shoot you. Easy.
Yeah,
I don't have
yeah.
to have anybody else in range. I just, spend the force and I get the expose. And then her identity ability, it's good. I guess
More out of activation movements. Always
more out
better.
of activation movement. You love that. It's also, you potentially putting some extra conditions on. You're getting, I think one of the key things here is the allied character gets to heal and then dash, right? So pins, they can clear pins, they can clear conditions. You could do things like if you are combining this with her with Vader 2, Vader 2 goes, I don't care, I'm probably going to kill something. And then maybe I rolled a miss on my 11 dice attack, so I've got exposed, but I just heal off the expose and I get to dash, and then I also get to dash somebody else because I killed something. So I think it's good. It's good. I think she's going to be fun. I think she is another good piece that's going to fit into the Empire toolbox.
Yeah, 100%.
And now I've just chatted forever about her. Is there anything you need to add?
You covered it all. Yeah.
The other thing that I will say is I think the model looks pretty cool as well. I like that pose.
The pose is fantastic.
Yeah, like because
even the supports are amazing. The posing.
Yeah, so but in particular, I like this because it's got the whole, she's doing the hand gesture thing for
A halt.
Yeah. So looks cool, right? Like it. One of the things we'll talk about some of the other pieces that are coming up. I feel like they kind of missed the mark a little bit with the.
I
the
think I know the one
sculpt.
you're talking about.
But this one, I'm like, it looks cool. Like it's not super flashy, but it just fits the character so well. So I'm really happy with what they've done with the sculpt.
Yep. All right. Well, that's going to bring us down into her supports. These troops, more Galactic Empire troops. What do you think of them?
I reckon you tell me what you think because I just went on about her for ages.
Look, they got 8 health, which is pretty good. At the start of their activation, they can remove a condition and a damage, which is great, right? They got pin or disarm or whatever of strain. You're getting rid of that straight away. How good's that? They still have that dash and sharpshooter thing, and the coolest thing they have is this infiltration where they can be deployed within range 3 of the primary instead of the normal range 1. So kind of like what Pons brings for your squad, but these guys go at range 3, which is super nifty, particularly with that the new mission pack coming out. It looks like they might be able to get maybe the I don't know how to describe it, the middle one or the furthest one up. I don't know how you describe it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we can talk about that when we talk about the mission.
Yeah, so I think they're going to be able to capture a few points, and obviously the more mission packs that come out, I think these guys' value will just continue to increase because they're going to be able to be sitting on more points than you think. Look, 8 health, can't complain, and they get to be healing stuff off, so they don't look too bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes you clones feel bad again, right? Like
I'm with you. Hey, I'm a clone boy, so
that 8 health is good. Obviously they've got scout, so they can fit in with Iden's tactics ability, so she
That's
she
right,
can
yes.
move them. Man, that deploying 3 away, that's pretty far up the board.
It's pretty good. Yeah, they
So
don't really need to be running. They're going to get to pretty much wherever they want.
yeah, it's interesting because like they don't have inbuilt sharpshooter, right? So they actually have to spend that force to get sharpshooter. Because a lot of the time I'd be thinking, look, if I'm deploying 3 away from the primary, maybe I don't need to move. I could just probably focus and shoot, but they're not getting sharpshooter then. I think they're interesting. The tactic ability. I wonder if they can just remove the condition, or do they have to do the damage and the condition? Now, sometimes you'd say, well, why wouldn't you want to do that? But what's his name? That Death Trooper, Dark Trooper escort guy. He wants you to be wounded, or he wants you to have damage on you.
A damage, yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if that. Yeah, I wonder how that'll work. But look, I think they're solid from what we've seen. We don't know how much they cost. We don't know their combat tree. Their unit card looks solid.
Looks pretty good. Standard 4 cost, you'd imagine.
Let's just throw some ideas out there. What do we reckon Iden Versio is going to be?
I think she'll be just an 8, right?
8-3.
Yeah. I don't imagine her
I reckon
being
she'll be
different.
8-3 as well. I can't see her being 7. There's not enough on there that I would say she's a 7.
Unless her combat tree is off chops.
Yes, unless it's insane. I could maybe see her being 9. Maybe
Not with her card.
9-2. I could see 9-2 because she doesn't bring any force regen.
I still don't see it with that card, but I mean, I could be wrong.
I'm just throwing
I know.
spitballing.
Yeah.
And I reckon the special forces they'll just be a solid, a solid 4.
4. Yeah, they look pretty standard 4. If they're 3, Bones Riot.
And they're coming when? June,
I believe, so not too far away.
So not too far, yeah.
Well, another pack coming in June is the Han Solo Chewbacca pack, which should be called the Best Friends pack, but I really don't know what it's really called. Is it called Be Quiet? No, it's not called that. It's called Real Quiet.
Real quiet like. So what do you reckon of Solo? Tell us. General Solo.
Sculpt is classic. It's really capturing the essence of Solo, and his card, I really like it. It really matches that kind of off-the-cuff style that we see from him. So obviously he's got a cool tactic ability that at the start of his activation, you get to choose a rebel character, and if they're in the order deck or in reserve, they get to do the advance, and if they've been out of the order deck or reserve, they get a dash. So but he also gets it as well. I think each character in this unit and the chosen character, which is really cool, right? Because then he can get a long run. So you're just going to pick someone generally on his turn that's in the order deck, so he can get his movement. That's really cool. He can make a second attack with 5 dice as a reactive, and then he's got this cool ability that when you get wounded, if one of your characters get wounded, if your opponent has more momentum than you can spend a force and get a free momentum, which I can see being useful if that tug of war is going back and forth a little. And then his identity, when an enemy unit is wounded, he gets to remove a condition and then dash, and then if the enemy it wounds you, he gets to make a 5 dice attack. I think it's all pretty good, but he's a 9. He's a 9-3. Again, the 9, not a huge fan of, but it makes sense, I suppose. I don't know. What do you think?
So I agree with all of that. I think the one thing that I'm probably a little bit annoyed about is that that second attack, that outnumbered, not outgunned, because it says after a character in this unit makes an attack as part of a combat action. So it means you can't, if say you play girlfriend, boyfriend, and put Leia and Solo together, and Leia has used coordinated fire exposed, you can't get this attack, which kind of annoys me.
They need to reword, they need to change the rules, and I think they're waiting to do it. I think You said in a forum recently that they haven't answered. What am I British? Answered one of your. I keep doing it. Answered one of your questions regarding kind
You've
of
been watching
timing.
Peppa Pig or something? Yeah,
No,
no, they
I
haven't. They
seriously
haven't.
don't.
I asked the question about Slipaway,
Yeah.
and because Slipaway says when a unit is targeted, and I was like, well, can I slip away and expose with coordinated fire? Because the strict wording is when a unit is targeted, which is different from when a unit makes an attack or whatever the coordinated fire one is. And they haven't answered it, and it's been 3 weeks. So I'm like, why haven't they answered it in 3 weeks? Maybe they're just ignoring me. But maybe there's something coming down the line because
It
I
has to be.
feel, yeah, because
Mace is sad.
Mace is sad, but then also Solo's sad, right? Like, why not
Yeah.
change it to after a character in this unit makes a combat action? Just do that. Then he always gets that ability.
Yeah.
He can always use it. Whereas now it's like you're going to have to make these decisions about what trigger you use on the attack, and it's kind of, to me, it's making the game a little bit less fun, making you make those decisions. I don't think it's generally not like, oh, I'm doing this wicked combo that is completely demolishing my opponent. It's not. It's a 5 dice attack targeting somebody else. Who cares? It's like just a little bit of flavor on Solo. It's not this debilitating combo or anything.
No, I agree.
So
And
I think it's good, and just when you were talking about it there, you could do his tactic ability if you reserved Lando and R2, and then you full advance them with this, then maybe you can get them with his tactics ability. Maybe you can get them onto a point, or depending on the new mission in particular, maybe you can get them onto a point in a state where they can't be shot.
yeah, very cool.
So yeah, kind of interesting to see. Yeah, what happens? Look, I think he's cool. Like you, I'm kind of a little bit concerned about the 9-3 because it feels squishy. 9 feels squishy.
But his box mate certainly doesn't feel squishy at all. He's a 12-2. We're talking about Chewbacca here. 12 health. That is insane for a secondary. I really like Chewbacca's card. He's got a couple of really, really good things. So at the start of this unit's activation, each character in this may dash towards an allied primary character. If he ends within range 3 of the character that he elects, that character, meaning the primary that he dashes towards, can get a hunker, and each character in this unit may heal. So he gets a heal. So if you get close enough, you might be able to pull a damage off Solo. I imagine he's going to be chasing Solo around the board because of an ability that's coming up. So he's got bodyguard, so all allied primary and secondary characters within 2 get cover 1. Now that he's going to be giving that to himself.
He is.
Yeah, so
that's
he's going to
pretty
be getting cover 1, and that also adds on with his intimidating presence. So when this unit is not wounded, allied Rebel Alliance characters within range 2 add an expertise to their defense rolls for free. So not only is he giving them cover from being shot, he's also giving them defense expertise when they're being attacked, regardless whether that's ranged or melee, which is pretty awesome. And to top it off, he's got an active ability. It's not wise to upset a Wookiee. I love the name of that. So just choose an enemy unit within range 3 and then roll 5 dice, and then for each crit or strike result, they suffer a damage. And I imagine with that bowcaster, he's going to punch like a brick shit house. So I think he's going to be doing a lot of work on the table.
I think he looks really cool. I think
Yeah.
he's like, I don't think somebody's gonna look at this Chewbacca and go, "Oh, I'm disappointed." Like I was a bit disappointed with Luke when I first saw the Luke card, and I'm still not like sold. On Luke.
Yep.
Yeah. Whereas I think you look at Chewie and you're like, "That's Chewie." Like, what more do you want from Chewie, right? I think if you were really picky, you'd go, "I'd really love Steadfast or Protection on there." I'm like, he has 12 health. He has cover. He has a built-in free expertise result. Depending upon what his defensive dice look like and what his defensive expertise looks like, this could be crazy, right? Like he could.
You know where I really like him? I really like him in place of Paplu in
of course,
Leia's Ewoks.
That was the other thing I was going to say. Is he's a rebel? Got scout.
He's got scout.
and he's a
Not even
secondary.
warrior, and I think
So
scout tag's better than the warrior tag
it
when you're
is because
bringing
you get the
the
dash, right?
dash. That's what he wants. He doesn't give a shit about hunkers. He wants to be up in the fight. He's already got cover for an extra dice, and if he's around low grade, he's going to be giving him an extra dice because he'll be an Ewok. So
Yeah.
there's just so much good stuff here, and I think out of the two that we've seen so far, Chewie is 100% my favorite unit.
Yeah, for sure. Let's just hope he's not like 5, because then we can't take him with the
Oh
Ewoks.
no, yeah, good point.
Let's hope
No,
he's a
surely he's not a
4.
5. They
Yeah,
know
I
when they're
wouldn't think, but like I don't know. You never know. Let's hope he's not a 5. Let's hope he's a 4, so we can take him with the Ewok.
well. I hope he's a 3 to be great, but I don't think I'm going to get that.
All right, good stuff. What did they reveal next? The mission pack. Let's talk about the mission pack later.
Yeah, we'll go to the mission back later. The next thing I've got on the list, and I've written it down because
Look at you being prepared and stuff.
trying to be prepared. I just don't want to scroll through. The next thing they revealed was the Rebels, as in the TV show Rebels, the
The
crew of the
Ghost crew
yeah,
or the
Spectres.
Spectres.
And they revealed probably my favorite character from Rebels first, and that's Kanan Jarrus. He looks phenomenal, and I'm extremely biased because he might be my favorite character from Rebels. But his card, is it just me or he looks great, right?
I think he looks good. Like I have some concerns with the Rebels as a whole.
Okay.
But Kanan I think looks pretty cool. We didn't wait, one more thing. Let's just I love Chewie sculpt as well. I think it's cool.
Oh yeah, he's got like the arm ripped off.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
upset a
That's
Wookiee.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like let's talk about that. The Kanan sculpt is kind of it's a bit static, but it looks badass. Like,
He's a Jedi. I
yeah,
like that.
he's a Jedi. Like he's good. So yeah, like I think my main concern with Kanan is that his tactic ability depends on what stance he's in.
Yep.
And you like the Jedi stance gives you force back and you can heal, but the pack leader stance is where you get a dash. And if you're not in pack leader, there's no other way for him to get extra movement
Yep.
in his turn. So that's my main concern with him is that there's nothing for him that lets him get an extra dash unless you're in pack leader. So then I feel like you're kind of stuck staying in pack leader
Just to
because
start,
you need that dash.
once you're in the middle, perhaps you can change like struggles 2 and 3. Generally, I think people understand their force consumption if they know their squad well enough, how much force they want to spend during struggle 1, because generally your things shouldn't be too wounded on their first activations, so you can kind of get an idea of what you're spending. And then I think once you get into the middle of the board and the game's on, I think having that force refresh and the heal is probably best. So look, you could even Shatterpoint him, right? And then so you could start him in pack leader, move up into the middle of the board, and then Shatterpoint him for the rest. If this really for me depends on his card. The force push, it's really good if you can get it on your stance card, right? So
Yeah.
having that stance card would be
Generally,
massive.
it's 4 successes in most of the
Yes,
time.
yeah, most of the time, yeah. And then his identity when an allied Rebel Alliance unit, I was going to say character, but unit, same thing really, is wounded by an enemy attack after the effect is resolved. He could double heal and jump. Then, if the wounded character is a Spectre, he may make a 5 dice attack. And that's really cool and really thematic. Being the leader, the field leader of the Spectres, jumping in, healing up, getting rid of the pin if he needs to, getting rid of a disarm, and then just swinging for the fences, with those 5 dice, I think is going to, really play well on the board, particularly that jump, because it's not a dash, it's not a climb, it's going to ignore engagement.
He's always going to get that movement, right? Because you've got the double heal first.
The double heal first, yeah. Kind of like Luke, right? But he doesn't
Yeah.
have to spend a force. But it's only when they're wounded. And obviously he's going to be running with Spectres mostly, I imagine. That's kind of everyone's going to be go-to. Look, he's got 10 health, which is good.
Which actually, yeah, the 10 it makes a difference over 9. Like it really does, because there's lots of characters that can do 9. 10 makes it a little bit harder to get one shot. And like, I think one of the other things is like Mother, he just gets the jump, and then most of the time, because you're running in with Spectres, he gets that 5 dice attack. But unlike Mother, And unlike Ahsoka and all that sort of stuff, it can be anybody, right?
Yep.
So he can just go, oh, there's a guy on my point, 1 health left. You wounded a friend over there. I'm just gonna wound this guy and take the point off you,
That's I
right?
guess
So
accurate.
yeah, so I think in some ways he's kind of like a basic bitch, right? Like like he is though, right? Because he's got deflect. Okay, fine. You're a Jedi. You've got deflect. Force push is nice. There's some more out of activate. Oh, sorry, Dyson's displacement on the good guy's side. I feel like most of the Jedi should have had force push, but anyway,
Yep, I agree.
he's got force push, but they're kind of like they're stuff we've seen before. And then the tactic is kind of okay as well. Like it's a little bit. I feel like I need to see his stance card before I really decide on
Yeah,
how I
good
feel
point.
about him.
Good point.
And then the when a friendly gets wounded, you get to dash, and like we've seen that before. So I feel
Yeah.
like he's a little bit basic bitch, but Kanan's cool. I think it's interesting the time period in Rebels that they've picked Kanan, so it's obviously not when he's blind.
That's right. I think
Unless there's an alternative head.
no. Look, I think because of the Ezra we're getting, it's
Yes,
the
that's
kind of the
true.
beginning Ezra before he
Yeah,
gets the green lightsaber. So I think they're saving themselves to do like a more mature Ezra as a primary and maybe the Kanan as a secondary
that'd be
later.
cool.
They
That'd be
might swap
cool.
that around, and they might swap Sabine as a support and Zeb as a secondary. They might, or maybe Sabine with the Darksaber as the primary. So it's maybe like the kids have grown up. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
that'd be cool.
that'd be cool. I'd really like to see that. Spoiler alert! I
Zeb,
realize if you haven't seen Rebels,
whatever. If
what
you,
it's out. It's
too
been
late,
out
it's
for
too
10
late
years,
now.
guys.
Yeah,
Just
it's too late now.
sorry, I know you're watching
Zeb,
Rebels at the moment. Zeb
I don't
is gonna
care.
do my fucking head in. I don't know, like painting wise, doing those stripes on him. That's gonna be hard for me. I'm not as talented a painter, so
Which stripes on his arms?
yeah, like getting getting it nice and
It'll be
perfect
fine.
and neat,
It'll
and
be
on the
fine.
head, nice and thin, and then yeah. But that look, I'm not like I said, I'm not as skilled a painter as you are, so I think you're gonna be fine. That's the first thing I noticed. But Zeb, I like the sculpt. He's kind of got it behind him. That big bow staff or the Lasat.
Yeah.
What do you call it? The Lasat. I don't know what you call it. It's got a name surely. But
So for me, it's very reminiscent of Magna Guards.
tell me.
But like just the sculpt, it just
Oh yeah, okay, fair.
looks
Yeah,
like a
they're kind
Magna
of using
Guard.
that same electro staff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, he's definitely gonna have a range attack, and I think
Well, he's
Kanan
holding
actually,
a gun on his.
Kanan might have
Yeah.
a range attack because in the first couple of seasons of Rebels, he kind of
He
likes
has
to hide
to.
his
He has
Jedi
to,
identity
right?
and he shoots a lot. So
He has to. That's what pack leader is, right? Like Form 3, his Form 3 Sarasu is when I'm being a Jedi, and his pack leader is
fair
when I'm
call.
being a rebel and just using the gun.
Yeah,
Like that has to be what it is. Now,
yeah,
I expect he probably won't have a ranged attack on Form through 3 Sarasu,
good point.
and so his pack leader is going to be he'll have a melee attack. It's probably not as good as the Form through Sarasu, but he has a range in that. Which, yay! Finally, more good guys with ranged attacks as primaries. We need that.
Agree. Yeah.
I look at Zeb and I'm just like, I don't know if I think he's.
Yeah, look, not being able to go into reserve once you've been injured hurts. Look, he can get a second attack on the same enemy unit for 5 dice. That's not bad. The weird thing is him being able to gain 2 injured tokens. To
Surely
kind of,
that's just like that's a trap most of the time, isn't it?
you
Like,
got to spend a force to do it once you become wounded. Yeah.
and then like
You don't
once
want to be
you,
back alive because you want to have, because you could just get wounded again straight
yeah,
away.
it's like you can do it.
I guess if you're going to win the game with it, like if he's going to die and then give up a point to somebody,
How many
you then
times is that going to happen though? Right? Like,
not a lot at all. No, not a lot at all. But I think if that is going to make a difference in the game, then you
yeah, sure. I just don't think you take Zeb for that reason. Right?
not.
Like,
And
I
look,
don't
he's
think you
he's a
take Zeb.
support, right?
Yeah, so I have a lot of issues with him. I think he costs too much force for a support. Like I think he
Yeah, yeah.
like all his abilities cost force, And if you ever do use Lasan or Lasan, I don't know how you pronounce it,
I
on
think
a
it's
guard,
Lasan. Yeah.
now all his abilities cost 3. Like, just put him in the bin. Like, my hot take on Zeb is he's pretty bad. Like, I just can't see myself. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, or maybe his combat tree is going to be amazing. But, like, I don't know. To me, he seems pretty nah.
Unfortunately, I think I'm with you there. He doesn't bring a whole lot that is
Like,
great.
yeah, I mean, okay, good. He's got 9 health, but he doesn't have any defensive tech. Like, he doesn't have protection. He doesn't have steadfast. He doesn't. He's a single unit support that has no way of outnumbering somebody. Like, he doesn't have
Yep.
inquisitorial mandate. I'm just like, I'm not sold
No,
on
so
him.
I thought about this. And neither does the other support in
Chopper.
the right. And so what I thought is maybe Hera. Maybe this is
Hera
what Hera
has
did.
to give it. Yeah, she
Well,
has
I
to
was
give
gonna
it.
say you might pick a point that you are tying, and you can pick a point that you're tying and win it. So you might not be able to get both of them because that would be crazy. But you might be able to
Would it?
choose
Would it be
at the end of
crazy?
your. Sorry,
I don't think it. I don't think it'd be crazy. I think if Hera's identity ability is something like
Spectres
while
may win tied
yeah
points.
yeah, I think that'd be. I mean, maybe not all of them.
Spectre
Maybe it'd
supporting
yeah
units may win tied
something like
points.
that. That'd be fine. I think that would fit in fine with her. Like in
It
the
has
show,
to be.
she
It has
basically
to be.
sits in the ship and does bugger all in most of the episode. Maybe I haven't got to the episodes where she comes out of the ship.
No, that's
That
about
was
right.
amazing. But
And
like most of
I
the
love
time,
Hera. Don't get me wrong, she's great. But yeah, she just leads from afar.
yeah. So if if she's like, it could even be something like while she is not engaged, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Spectres, if there's a tie on a point, Spectres win the point. Something that sort of fits into her. I'm a tactician. I sit back. I don't get into the fight. But they are gonna need something, right? Because if you've got Zeb and Chopper as your, both of your supports have one character in both of
Yeah.
those units, you're in trouble. Like, you know, I don't think it's worth having 2 Inquisitorious supports that have, 2 with Inquisitorial mandate. I think you're better off with maybe having 1 and then taking like the Stormtroopers, because it's just more flexible to have more bodies.
Yeah.
Even if you can outnumber when you're on the point, it's more flexible to have more bodies. And so I don't know what you do here, but yeah, like I think Zeb's the one that I looked at and went,
Yeah. Look, we'll move past Zeb.
yeah.
Time obviously. We're gonna move on to Sabine Wren, Spectre 5. She is going to be the secondary unit in her pack, so Hera is going to be the primary in that pack. Her first tactic ability is, my friends, make the impossible possible. So at the start of this unit's activation, choose another Rebel Alliance character. The chosen character may dash. Then, if the chosen character is Spectre, it may gain a hunker. So everyone's going to get a dash if they're Rebel Alliance, and if they are a Spectre, they're going to gain a hunker. But if you're Struggle 2-3, generally you're engaged by that point, so the hunker may not matter entirely. She has an active ability. I'm going to go add some fireworks to the celebration. One character in this unit may choose an objective within 4 and roll 5 attack dice. And then each unit within 2 of that objective suffers a damage for each expertise result in the roll. Then one character in this unit may jump. So kind of not what we're used to seeing. Normally we see those crits and strikes being the damage. This time it's just the expertise. So she's going to get a lot less damage out of rolling those 5 dice. However, she is going to get a jump, which I think is the most important thing there.
Yeah, I think there's 2 ways to look at this. You can look at this and say it's a force for a jump, which is pretty standard cost. Force, 1 force for a jump.
Yeah.
And she happens to be able to pick an objective within 4. It
It
doesn't
doesn't
even
have
have
to
to
be.
an
Yeah.
active objective. It can just be an objective within 4, and she rolls 5 attack dice, and anybody within 2 of that objective, or any unit, right? So
Yeah.
she's probably only going to do like what, a damage or 2, maybe,
If she's lucky, yeah.
if she's lucky. But maybe there's 2 units within 2 of that objective.
That's right.
Right,
So you're doing
and so
4
maybe
damage in
she
total
does 4. So, but I think it's like whatever. That's a free bonus
on the jump.
on the jump, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's a perfectly fine
Yeah.
ability.
So I really like her reactive as well. So it's exactly the same, I think, in almost every
Its
way, except
Mandos
for
are stronger together.
yeah,
It's
just
got
with the
that.
added ability of specters as well. So end a move action within range 2 of a Mando character or a Spectre character, and she's going to get a focus, which is awesome because she's got Sharpshooter too,
Yeah,
with that
and
passive Daughters of Mandalore.
yeah, so she got protection and sharpshooter too,
Yeah,
and she can always jump. So that's a pretty key one, right? So when she dash, advance, climb, reposition, she can jump. So
huge.
yeah, pretty good, pretty good.
I think
Um,
she's amazing as a secondary. The only issue I really have with her is 8 health, but she's a secondary with protection, so that's 9 already. Probably getting at least 10 out of it because I think you're going to need
yeah,
at least.
I think it's fine with
Yeah, I think.
protection built in. It's
Yeah, with
fine.
protection. I think she's probably the best Spectre we've seen yet because she doesn't just fit within the Spectres, and I don't think like the Rebel Alliance has a whole lot yet. She's going to fit well with Mandos. And with another box coming up, and with the release of Din Djarin, I think she probably wants to run with Din Djarin.
I think it's good to see that they're giving that flexibility,
Yeah.
right? Now, she probably wants at least a rebel so that her tactics ability does something because she can't use it on herself,
Yeah. No.
which is
Yeah.
unfortunate. But it's good that she's got flexibility to fit in with Spectres, Rebels, and
Mandos.
Mandalorian. So I think that's good. What do you think of her sculpt?
Not a super fan.
I think I'm just not a fan of the jumping over an explosion thing. Like, it's
Oh,
just
the
not.
explosion mounds. Please, AMG, stop.
Yeah, it's not my thing. Like, I don't particularly like it, but yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, it's better than some of the sculpts out there. Look, I just hope she has a helmet.
Yeah, it'd be good if she has a
Mandos
helmet
should always
option.
wear helmets, please. That's part of their armor. It's part of their identity. Please put the helmet on. And then everyone's favorite Star Wars droid,
Big
Chopper.
call.
It's a
Big
big
call.
call, but I think it's not probably far from the. So Chopper. We'll talk about his sculpt to start. It is what it is. It's not my favorite sculpt.
It's not my favorite either,
It's
but
a sculpt.
it's all right. It's
It's a sculpt.
okay.
I give it a 5 out of 10. That's probably mean. I don't really care. It's not the worst sculpt that AMG revealed at
No,
Adepticon either by far. So, and we'll
no,
talk about that.
that's yeah.
So he doesn't have a tactic ability, but he does have 2 actives. One is Mayhem, so he gets to choose an enemy unit within 2 and roll 3 defense dice. So if out of the 3 defense dice there is a block result, the unit gains a strain. If there is a expertise result, they gain a disarm, and if there is a fail result, they gain a expose. So really, you could get lucky and get all 3, which
Yeah,
that would be debilitating. Could you imagine? Just Chopper rolls up, rolls a dice, and it's like, yeah, just have 3 conditions, everything but pin. Like that would piss anyone off.
it would, but it's not going to happen very often, and it's a weird ability where because it's so random. Like when you can't bank on it,
No, if you got
really.
a force left over, you just chip it
Yes,
in.
that's what I mean. It's sort of like this weird thing where you just like, eh. And because he also has to be engaged to do it. I
Oh,
guess he
that's
doesn't.
right.
He could be at a different elevation, but
Evasion, yeah, fair call.
otherwise he has to be engaged to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, he's also got rocket boots. Sorry,
True,
booster. So he could do it and then jump away. So that's
true.
the next active ability. Spend a force just to get a jump. Nice. It's a classic ability. It's great. Everyone wants that. He's got he's got some weird other stuff, but we'll get to his first reactive. His only reactive, I should say. It's when a character in this unit wounds an enemy unit with an attack, after the effect is resolved, he may use this ability, obviously. So choose an allied Rebel Alliance character within range 2, then they may dash, and if they are Spectre, they may get a reposition. So I don't know if he's going to have a massive attack tree, so it's going to be difficult to say if this is going to come off heaps. I think we need to see his stance card before we really make a decision on this. It's free to start, so not bad, but once he's wounded, that's going to add up. Look, he's got 8 health with protection, so that's at least 9, and immunity to pin and immunity to disarm, which
That's
is
cool. That's
that's
cool.
pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And his last passive, is it called passive? Innate. That's what the word is.
Yeah.
Innate is just when his card is in the order deck or in reserve, he cannot be targeted with range attacks, which seems to be a theme for the
Droids.
droids. Yeah, kind of cool. Because I guess there's other threats on the board. No one really sees him as a threat unless he's up close.
Plus, he could be a Imperial droid or whatever.
Yeah, look,
Is that one of ours?
yeah, good, except he's fucking bright orange. I like him. I don't think he's bad as a support. I just need to see his
Well,
stance
that's the
card
thing. You kind of, I
and
feel like you
Hera. I need to
can't.
see Hera and his stance card
Yeah,
before I
you
make a decision.
can't really make a judgment on it because
Yeah.
until you see his, like, he could have angry trilling or something, right? And then
Oh,
you just
please
like,
no, please no,
"Fuck,
go
what are you
away.
doing to me, right? Like, because then Chopper, sometimes you do it right, is not going to come off very often, and then you're like, what am I getting out of this unit at that point? Not a lot.
Agreed. Agreed.
So I think he's one where I look at it and I go, he doesn't jump off the screen at me as, whoa, that's a good
Look,
support
8 health with protection. If he gets some sort of inquisitorial mandate in some way, I
from
think that's
Hera. Yeah,
yeah,
he'll be fine then. Yeah.
yeah. All right, so let's move on to some complete speculation.
Well, so
Uh,
they were all the unit cards that got spotted.
sorry,
Right?
yes, that's what I was. Yeah,
Yeah. So now we just got sculpt reveals,
yeah, yeah, and box
which
reveals.
I'm keen. Yeah, box reveal sculpt reveals. I'm good for that.
Same thing. Yeah. Look, the first one
Oh
is.
wait, do we also want to talk about when they're coming out? So
Oh yeah,
I
July for
think they're
those
coming out
guys.
in July, yeah. So
Yeah,
July for the Spectres.
yeah, and then June for Han and Iden's boxes.
Yeah,
We then get down to I think everyone loves Thrawn, no matter if you're a fan of the EU, the Disney, era, Star Wars,
yeah.
everything.
You were gonna say something else.
I have to behave sometimes. I was gonna say the shit Star Wars, but I
Yeah,
held
you're
myself.
into the Disney shit. I think we should
uh,
just, this is the way. You're not
this is the way.
listening to us because you're worried about some swear words coming out. As we
If you
said
play, look, if you
before,
play
this,
Shatterpoint, you're a real Star Wars fan, right? You fucking hate the Disney shit, most of it. Like Andor and Rogue One are cool. Everything else, shit, right? That's what everyone's feeling is surely.
yeah, I mean, some people like some of the other stuff. That hasn't really grabbed me that
I
hard
will,
or
I
anything.
will admit, there are some cool moments in some of the shows.
Yeah, like I mean, like I loved the fight in
Nobi,
Obi-Wan. I love the
yeah,
fight, the final fight that they had. That was a cool fight. I
it's
like
cool.
that.
Of course, it's cool, but
But it's
I mean,
just
there's certain other
there was
things that
also there was also a trash fight between Vader and
Reva.
Reva. Like that was
You know
just the
what? Fucking
worst.
pisses me off. Disney era Star Wars, the fucking lightsabers do nothing. Fucking
Uh,
Sabine ran and Reva gets stabbed by a lightsaber twice. Once as a youngling, once as an adult, but fucking survives. Lightsabers. I watched a Critical Drinker do
yeah. He's
a
like,
science study. It would boil you
animating. Yeah,
alive.
you would
It would.
just explode. Like if
It's like fuck, but no, Reva just fucking survives as a youngling
just,
and then as an adult. And then Sabine, the same problem. Then she's fucking doing flips the next day, like as fucking if. Like you get stabbed by a lightsaber, you're dead. You don't come back from that. Disney,
I agree.
please.
I agree.
Look, I look. It just makes Qui-Gon look like a bitch. He must have had anaphylaxis to lightsabers. He died from the
He was
allergies to taking. He was
allergic
just
to
allergic to
lightsaber.
lightsabers. That's what Obi-Wan forgot his EpiPen at home that day. Like what the? Anyway, look. Angry
I,
rant, halfway
no, I
over.
agree. I agree. Love it. Love
Look,
it. This is the way. All right,
when let's talk
let's
about
talk
Thrawn.
about the Thrawn. Okay, so I think the Thrawn sculpt is very Thrawn.
Thrawn, so Thrawn. I know it's people are going to complain it's static. I love it.
No, but that's Thrawn, right? Like most of the time, that's what he's doing. It would be interesting to see if there's a alt arm with the pistol.
I don't want it.
I think it would be fine to have it as an alternative that people, they
Yeah,
can make a decision.
they're cool.
The troopers, whatever they are, they look
ISB,
cool. They look cool troopers. Good with them. Callus, I think Callus is interesting because they said they're going to have something where he can choose whether he's Empire or Rebel. That's cool.
I think he gets to choose which tag is active for the match.
Okay, that's cool. But maybe it changes his abilities. Maybe
Yeah,
it'll
so
be like
it'll be his. Maybe he'll have like a mini, not identity, but a mini innate. Like
he
if
might have
he's.
a tactics ability, right? That
Oh
changes.
yeah,
Right,
depending
like
on the
Kanan's got
allegiance.
one.
So
So
what I would have liked to see in this box is Rook, the assassin that comes with Thrawn. I don't know if you're up to that part of Rebels yet,
I'm
but
not. I'm not.
So Thrawn has this. I forget which species he is, but he has this assassin that kind of does his like dirty work for him. And it's not the Rook isn't just from the show. Rook is also from the Timothy Zahn Thrawn Edge of the Empire
Oh,
novels.
yeah,
So
the Nogri. I'm looking at
the
it now.
Nogri, that's what it is. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Nogri assassin. So I really would have liked a secondary. So if you don't want to use Callus because he's a traitor, you can use Rook as the secondary there
Yeah,
instead.
that would have been cool.
But we'll probably get him later at some point anyway. So not really crying about that. I like Callus. I think he's cool, and I like the tactic he's bringing. I also like the fact that they said that Thrawn. I think that they pretty much alluded to the fact that he's going to bring the Ewok tactic card, but in his own version of it,
Something. Yeah,
his own
that's
sort of
cool.
stratagem, which is going to be great. Like we know that he's uh, the smartest guy in Star Wars, right? Everyone knows that about Thrawn, and I think he's going to be really deadly hand-to-hand combatant because that's how he trains. When he's
Trains
not
against
collecting
those
art.
droids. Yeah.
Yeah, so really happy to be seeing
I think
Thrawn come.
everybody's happy that he's coming to the game.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Any
No one's
Star
mad.
Wars fan, as you said, any Star Wars fan is going to love that Thrawn is coming. So yeah,
Yeah,
very keen to see him. I think the Thrawn sculpt is good. The troopers I think look good. Callus is a bit weird. I don't know. The staff held behind your back is kind of a boring sculpt. Now that's the third one.
yeah.
Basically the same as Zeb. It's the same as the Magna Guard. But yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next one. Good soldiers follow orders.
Who asked for this?
I asked for this because I actually when Bad Batch dropped, right? I was like,
Yeah.
why doesn't Crosshair have Empire as a tag, right? Because I'm like, he's the dude, right? And I was talking about this with the people I play on Tuesday night, and I was like, actually, I did like my best Crosshair impression. He's like, good soldiers follow orders. It's a terrible impression, but I
More
was
of
like,
that. More of that.
he actually, like, and then I see this, and I'm like, yes, this is awesome. Like, I love it. I love that they've made him a primary, given him his own squad. Like, I love it. I reckon this is fantastic. I love it for multiple reasons. One, because I wanted that, and then two, because it shows that they're willing to release. Well, obviously they've done it already, but they've gone Obi-Wan and they've gone Vader, right? And they've gone, here's your two versions of two of the most iconic characters in the Star Wars universe, and now they've
Sure.
got,
Yeah.
and here's two versions of freaking Crosshair, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
for me,
Yep.
that's so cool because now everybody who's like you said, I want a primary Ezra and I want a primary Sabine,
Yep.
that we may get them, right? Like this is them showing that they're willing to do that for characters who aren't iconic, characters from the universe. This is Crosshair, and he's got two versions. Sorry, so
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's fantastic.
I tell you what's going to upset me the most: if the evil clones are better than the good clones. Like these guys need 7 health. If they have more than 7 health, we riot.
Well, I mean, Crosshair's going to have more than 7 because I don't
The
think we've seen a
crosshair and the
primary.
flamethrower guy probably. Yeah. 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 But it's the troopers.
But the
If the
troopers
supports.
are they going to be clones though? Because the first troopers that he leads are recruits. They're not
Yeah,
clones.
you're right. Fair point. But they've got look, please, they gotta have gotta have 7 health.
Stormtroopers have 9 health. What are you talking about, man?
If they have 8, I'm gonna be pissed off. But look, that's me. I'm a grumpy old man.
Well, look,
Um,
you asked who asked for this.
yeah, you
I'm
did.
I'm pleased that it's there.
All right. Well, talk to me about the flamethrower. How do you think that's gonna work?
I've no idea.
Is it gonna be a
Uh,
ranged attack weapon?
it can't because then you can't use it.
Yeah, but maybe it's a rule that counts. You count your ranged expertise when firing this within range 2.
It could just be what could it be? It could be something like pick a point on the board, um, or pick a unit and then or pick a character and every character within 2 suffers something.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe.
Like it's like an AoE explosive kind of flame thing. I don't know. We have to
Yeah.
wait a long time. Q4. 2024 as well.
I
So we have to wait at
know.
least 6 months for these.
That's right.
Oh wait, we
Yeah,
didn't talk about Thrawn's coming out in August, which is that's not that
sooner
far.
than that. Yeah. All right. Happy to
What
move
do
on.
you think of the sculpts? My only
Great. No, I like them.
I just don't like Crosshair and his tactical rock because I just hate people standing on tactical BS.
Yeah. Look, I don't mind tactical. I played enough MCP.
All right,
Or built enough
ne-
MCP. The next one is our boys and girls, the Mando Covert. This is the away squad pack. Everyone's gonna go fucking nuts for this. People just want more Mandos in general. I think the armor is the primary, right? And Paz Vizsla is the secondary there.
You would think so.
Yeah, I can't remember if Schick said that or not, but I mean that's the way I'm gonna imagine it. Yeah, look, Paz Vizsla gonna have a million dice rolling up that auto cannon, whatever it is. The Mandalorians, hopefully they just operate like a cross between the Krees maybe and the Krees and the Red Mandos. One of them in the picture looks like they've got a flamethrower on their wrist, so they might have that flamethrower ability, but maybe they're better at shooting than they are at punching.
And the
So
other one's leaning over to shoot his rocket.
yeah, I want to see that. I want to see that in play.
This is what I'm gonna say now, though. The armorer is the worst sculpt.
Oh,
Like,
she looks a bit T-posy.
it's so boring. It's such a boring sculpt.
Look, I'll be honest. This is a hot take. She's a bit of a boring character.
That's true. That's true. But like,
She looks
it's
cool.
just
She looks cool, but
I don't think she looks cool
no,
here.
as in no. Sorry, her costume design looks cool. But that's about
Yeah.
all she has going for her.
Yeah, this is the sculpt that I looked at and just went, that's such a boring sculpt. Like, somebody you could maybe say Thrawn is boring because he's just standing there, but that's
That's
kind of
him.
yeah,
She
like
should
he's
be
got
banging on something.
he's
She should
like
have an
he's
anvil.
got his arm behind his back, like he's it's more like he's regal, like he's regal Thrawn, like he's just there. Look at me, I'm awesome. She's just like, as you
One of the
said, it looks like she's in a T pose. It's like the
dumbest
animation's
thing.
broken.
I don't think that Star Wars knows how to use her whenever they use her. Maybe another hot take, but in The Mandalorian season 3, and if you haven't seen it, spoilers alert, so skip like 30 seconds ahead. But she uses a jetpack. She's flying in midair, hitting fucking Mandalorian stormtroopers with her hammers. Everyone else is shooting guns and shit, but she's just got a hammer and tongs. Why the fuck do you go to war with a hammer and tongs? You're really
She's
restricting your range there. I don't
the
get it.
armorer.
It's dumb. It's actually fucking dumb. Like Star Wars thinks, oh, it's gonna be cool watching you hit people with a hammer and mid. No, that's not. That doesn't make sense, guys.
It's not even like the length of a lightsaber. Like
That's right. It's like you
what?
have to come to my fist range.
Yeah, she may as well be punching them.
Honestly, it's dumb. Don't get me. Yeah. Anyway, look. Like I said, I'm already started. I'm already off the hook.
I think like I'm keen for the pack, but I'm probably not so keen on her. But whatever. It is what it is.
You probably replace her with Din Djarin.
But yeah, mate, true.
So Din and these guys, and then you pick some rebels who are scoundrels. To go with Din's leadership.
Yep.
Maybe. In is what's her name? Look, you bring in the other squad. What's her name? Sabine. She'll just bring a rebel with Sabine, who's a scoundrel.
Yeah, that'll work. That'll work.
So maybe
Okay,
Han
next
Solo.
one. Next one. Let's move on because the next one's cool.
How much you can start the next one? I know. I don't want to do it any disservice.
No, so the next one is interesting because this is the first unit pack. So it's not a
Yes.
squad pack, it's a unit pack. So it's individual units that don't go together because they're all secondaries. So they can't all go together. But it's all basically bounty hunters.
Yep.
And we're getting some of, the classic bounty hunters.
I had 3 seconds of screen time and we never saw them again.
Yeah, I think 3 seconds is enough because everybody will just be hyped.
Oh, they look cool as
for it
shit.
anyway.
They look cool as shit.
Yeah, I think the sculpts. I'm pretty happy with the sculpts.
Every single sculpt.
A tactical box, but I'm happy with the tactical box because the boxes goes with the character. It's not a rock or a tree or something that is in the environment. It's belongs to the character. So if he's got
his
that,
attitude with the box, he's got a foot on, he's leaning over.
Yes.
Like
Perfect.
Dengar's cool.
Dengar's cool.
IG with his guns out. Boss looking like he's gonna eat someone for breakfast.
Yeah,
so jetpack, and it's all good.
I'm very keen for this unit pack just because the
I
models look cool.
wonder if there's going to be a variety of points costs. I hope there's at least one 3 cost in here.
Yeah, I'd say there will be, right?
I don't know.
And
Like, I think look, it might go 2 4s, a 5. Like maybe Bobber's a 5.
I mean,
Bosk is
Bob is such a beast. Well, if he's anything like his dad, he's going to be a beast. And if he's anything like in Legion, he's going to be a beast as well, right?
well,
So
Bosk in Legion terrified me. The one game I played, I got bullied by Bosk, and then I never played again. That's because the person teaching me the game just wanted to beat me, and
yeah,
I was
see,
like, my first game ever.
that's the way you build a community.
Yeah, so I just never played again. I'm like, I don't want to come back here because you're just gonna beat me with Bosk every time. But look, I think probably IG or Dengar might be your 3. Bosk will be your 4, and then the other one will be a 4, and Bobber a 5 to give you some variety. Because if there's no variety in the squad, the unit pack, then it's not going to be great. This might be a good one to share with a mate. Maybe you really want Bosk and they really want Bobber, and then you can split a unit box because you're not losing out on a whole lot because they're just
That's
secondaries.
true. But does anybody really not want like Bobber?
No, I think everyone probably will want.
Yeah, I can't imagine doing that. But yeah, great. And I love to see that it's a unit pack, right? Because now we could potentially get like they could do a unit pack of
All primaries.
all primaries, and that'd be cool. And it could be, like we could get a Bo-Katan primary in there, right? And we could get,
Yeah.
whatever other people who have come out as secondaries, but now they're coming out as primaries.
And crossing errors and
Yeah, and we
doing
could
all that
we
good
could
stuff.
even get like Gar Saxon or you could have Gar Saxon primary, you could have Bo-Katan primary, and then they could just throw 2 other units in. It doesn't even have to be
So
a
yeah,
primary unit pack.
that's right. You bring Mandalorian supports from the other era. So you can bring some Rebel era Mandalorian supports, and then you can bring some like the Super Commandos as Mandalorian supports from the
Yeah.
from that Civil War era. So you can use them in other squads. Yeah, I think that's what they do with that pack that you're talking about.
Yeah, so I think again, it's kind of cool just to see that they're willing to do this, like have a unit pack. So I'm keen to see what other unit. I'm keen for this unit pack, and I'm also keen to see what other unit packs they come. All right, next one is all you maximum firepower squad pack.
Oh.
What a just I think an unexpected squad.
No
pack.
one thought Veers because like he's got no combat really happening. Like we all knew the snow troopers were coming, but we probably expected with like snow trooper Vader, Empire Strikes Back Vader. But fuck, what an awesome squad pack because of the rules that Schick introduced. He said that Veers is going to not have some combat prowess on the table, but rather bring in some AT-AT fire to rain down on rebels from outside the board. And so we kind of talked about this off camera as to what that might mean. I was thinking that he would have no melee attack at all and just have anything in line of sight pound. Is that kind of what you were thinking?
So potentially, and then just now I've thought of something else.
Tell me.
Right? What if he has his identity ability is something like while this unit is not engaged, at the start of each of your activations, pick an objective, roll 5 dice for every crit or hit, do 1 damage to the
Oh,
unit, and
that is
just
awesome.
every turn.
That is
Right?
so good. But look, he
Like
would have to
just
cost 6, maybe, if
yeah,
that's the
but like
case.
maybe something like that, right? Like you could make it expertise and crit, right? So that
Yeah, okay.
it
It's
doesn't
less.
happen as often, right? But just every turn he's calling in this AT strike, something like that would be cool.
That is awesome. That is such that's
And
what
then
they
you
should.
just if you engage him, it's gone. It's locked. It's out.
Yeah, but he's just gonna want to constantly get out of engagement. If that's the case, I can see him probably being a 6 cost and these snow troopers being 3. If that is the case, because
I
in
mean, maybe,
ATST.
but like every turn he throws out an extra 3 damage. I mean, it's good, but it's not like
But to everyone on that point, like
yeah, I know. I'm just spitballing here, so who knows? But something like that would be
that could get
cool.
up to 9 damage pretty quick. If there's 3 units on a point or 3 characters. You're saying sorry, units or characters?
Or you could do it either way.
Yeah, fair enough.
You could make it cost a force, right? So that
Yeah,
you
okay.
can just do like
There is a cost.
at any point during your activation, he can do this.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Um,
And then he doesn't have to cost 6. He could cost, like he could be 8-3 or whatever.
yeah, the snowtroopers look cool. I really like the
Yeah,
snowtroopers.
I think they like again these sculpts. I'm pretty happy with all of these sculpts.
Yeah,
The presumably the snowtrooper sergeant, he's pointing, giving some direction. Snowtroopers look good. I like it.
fan. Yeah. All right. I guess we're getting on to the next squad pack. The
The
Lando
Lando,
squad pack.
the Cloud City Lando squad pack.
Yeah. So they said the Cloud City Guards are going to tie into that kind of police theme, because they're kind of like the police from Cloud City. So I wonder how that's going to work. And Lando has going to have that callous ability where he can swap allegiances. So yeah, look, not expecting a whole lot out of this box, to be perfectly honest with you. I think they're going to be similar-ish to the Handmaidens.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, I think sculpts look pretty good. Like Lando's sculpt is cool.
Yeah,
Like
Lobot,
it
very
fits.
classic Lobot.
Yeah, fits all the characters really well. So I'm like the sculpts look good. And who knows beyond that? It's hard to say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think we'll just blow past this one because we don't really know
I mean,
anything else.
at this stage, or we can spitball, or we can look at the sculpts. I think the sculpts are good.
Sculpt
And I've
nice.
got no idea on anything else.
No.
All right, you
Um,
you have to do the next two because I know you're mad keen for them.
I really love Kit Fisto as a Star Wars character. I think this is the worst sculpt I've ever done. The Kit Fisto sculpt, it annoys me to no end.
Why does it annoy you?
He's standing on a weird fucking tentacle. He's like posed in the air. He doesn't seem grounded or solid at all. He seems like a fucking acrobat. That's not the Kit Fisto we know.
That's true. That's true.
Nadar Veb looks fine, a bit basic. They did say this was sculpted by someone from in-house. So, I mean, they did a good job. They look nice. I just don't think this, to me, says Kit Fisto, and I will probably be using a proxy for this. I do really like Kit Fisto, and I really like. So they said this is going to be from the arc where they go and chase down Grievous in his lair, and I really like that arc from the Clone War. I just am really not happy with the sculpt.
I mean, we don't have a lot to go on,
No.
right? So I'm willing to wait and see. Like it's very dynamic, right? Like it's a very dynamic sculpt. But
Yes.
I'm not a massive fan of, as we've said, tactical whatever. And this is
Yeah.
an environmental tactical something that he's jumping. Just a bit awkward.
I'm with you. Yeah. And the next two characters models revealed is going to be Coyote Mundi, and finally he is bringing some Jedi Padawans to kind of so they're generic. They said you can swap out their heads, so you can kind of have the Padawan you want. And they're going to be able to help you run an all lightsaber force. So I think that's what Republic players kind of, or the
An
Jedi play.
all good guys lightsaber force.
All
Not
good guys, no clones, no betrayers, all good guys. So drop the Barris. And I can't wait for Anakin to murder some younglings. I think that's what everyone's gonna look forward to in that. Just getting Anakin to absolutely double tap some youngling. That's
So
gonna be fun.
these two boxes are coming Q1 2025.
They're a long time away.
But one thing I did want to say is I did see some chatter, right, where people were saying, oh, they've closed the last Clone Wars. They closed the box on, closed the book on Clone Wars. There's not going to be any more Clone Wars models. I love that they're coming back to Clone Wars
Yeah.
and adding some, not really, more sort of like out there characters. I guess, Kit's not necessarily that out there, but I mean, Kiadi Mundi, I don't think there were many people who are like screaming out for him, and I don't think he's not one of those quintessential Star Wars characters that you might think of. So
I really like him. I'm sorry. This is my crosshair moment.
that's fine.
I've
That's fine. I
played
mean,
like who didn't play a lot of Battlefront 2 growing up, and I really like the Megiddo map, and so Coyote Mundi was the Jedi from that map, and so I played a lot of Coyote Mundi as a kid in Battlefront 2. It's so weird. It's such a weird train of thought, but I don't know what it is. I really got a lot of respect for Big Head. That's what we used to call him. I
all
couldn't
right.
remember
Well,
his
I
name as a kid.
didn't play it. So maybe that's where I'm coming from a different. a different background.
I really
But
wanted Kit Fisto. Look, Kit Fisto in Battlefront 2, the game, is shirtless. He's like ripped, shirtless alien. I want more of that Kit Fisto. That's the sculpt I
I'm
want.
sure there are sculpts of him like that.
Sexy
But
Kit Fisto.
sexy kid. Yeah, just that's kind of my thing. Is like if you were like, oh, I love droidicas, or I love some other kind of commando droids or whatever, and they haven't come out. Oh, they're never coming out. No, right? Like they haven't closed the book on Clone Wars stuff. There may be other squad packs. There may be other unit packs of Clone Wars units that are going to round out some of the factions, add extra options for stuff in that era. And I think to me that's kind of the most exciting thing in seeing these squad packs is that they still got that the book open for the Clone Wars era.
Yeah, no. Cool. I think that wraps up the model reveals. I think all that's left to talk about is the mission pack.
That's true. That's true. Let's have
What
a
else?
look at it. So it's back to 9 objectives,
Yep.
and they're kind of tightly clustered around the middle. So
Mace
you've
Windu's kind of lot.
where you had, before you just had the one middle point. Now you've got one that's sort of above and below that if you're looking from your perspective. So there's one a bit closer to you, and then there's one a bit closer to your enemy. And then the side objectives are very far to the side. They're only 2 away from the edge now.
Yeah.
So you can definitely have units that are holding multiple objectives. Now, I don't know if they're all going to be on. We haven't seen enough of the active objective options yet. And what else do we? Oh, yes, there's going to be a unit type. So you've got, it looks like supporting units, secondary units, or primary units. They're going to be active on the card. So the card's going to have one of those unit types active, and then whenever a character that's in one of those unit types wounds an enemy, you may spend a force to move the struggle token 1 space towards your memory. So you can spend a force to be like Anakin.
And Anakin gets it twice, which is really nice.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I think it's interesting because it's leaning more heavily into attrition,
That
which
American attrition meta.
Yeah. I think look. I'm glad that there's a third mission pack because I want there to be more mission packs, and I want the mission pack decision to be more meaningful. So I'm not against it from that perspective. I think there's some other interesting things that people may not necessarily have considered. Some of it looks like the layouts for the first struggle. I think they're the first struggle anyway. You can't necessarily guarantee getting 2 from the get-go because one of them is going to be pretty far forward.
Yeah.
It's going to be 5 and 2 forward, and I don't think you can necessarily guarantee to get
So
that
that
one.
may benefit characters like the troops from Iden's box or Mace with his with Pons and the Arfs. And Mace already likes this setup. You don't need to incentivize him to bring those guys anymore.
Yeah, I think it also will incentivize people with out of activation movement.
Yeah.
That isn't necessarily tied to killing someone. So that's why I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with this mission pack. I think for like just personally, shifting priorities is fine, but I don't think it's a good mission pack. I think Sabotage Showdown is a much better mission pack from a balance perspective. So I'm keen that there's actually a second one. Ignoring shifting priorities, there's the second one that you actually may consider seriously rather than shifting, which I don't think you generally consider seriously.
I agree, which is actually interesting because I think just over half the games from Adepticon were played with Sabotage Showdown. So I think it was 55 versus 45.
I would love to see stats on anybody that picked shifting if they actually won.
Yeah, I know because it can sometimes really bite you because that struggle 3. We have talked about this. I think we kind of covered that nicely. Do you have anything more to say on that?
Comes out in June, so
There you
not too
go.
far away as well.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
potentially 2 months away. So I think the more mission packs, the better. Really, I want to see more mission packs. I want to see what they do interesting stuff. Like this is interesting, right? Because it does cost you a force. It doesn't happen for free, right? Like the ability that you get, it doesn't happen for free. And a lot of the the dash is really good in sabotage, and the force refresh is really good in sabotage. The heal 2 or a condition is okay, can be clutch at some times.
Yeah.
So you are potentially giving up a decent amount of things by taking this. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with it, where people land on. I'm playing attrition. I take. Never tell me this mission pack every time. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. Cool. Just before we move past Adepticon and into the shots from the crowd segment, a new segment for us, we had someone ask us what we think the best thing from Adepticon would be, and how we would look at now making maybe a premiere roster. So obviously, lock out the Spectre boxes from premiere rosters. We already know that they're going to go together. So just quickly, hot take in 5 words or less, maybe. What box do you think is going to be have the most impact on the game? Just purely speculation.
Pure speculation. Oh, far out. This is so hard. Thrawn or Veers?
Okay, yeah. I think most impact on the game maybe the bounty hunters.
You
Uh,
think? Okay, yeah, yeah.
They
Fair.
could bring some. Look, I'm playing out of the box here. Because I was going to say VS. I had to change on the spot.
I took 2. I did cheat. You know?
You did say two. Yeah, I was gonna say Thrawn or Veers. You said both. Yeah, look, maybe the bounty hunters, just as a third option. All right. And is there something that was revealed apart from the rebels that you'd like to run in a premiere list?
I mean, not enough has been revealed yet for me to say for sure
Sure.
whether I'd like to run it or not. Maybe, like, I'm sure I'll look at what Iden's box brings and see where does that fit with other Empire stuff. But like at the moment, it's probably Spectres because the Spectres are cool. But it really is going to hinge on what Hera brings, in my view, whether the Hera fixes Chopper and Zeb or not. And
Yeah, totally
then,
understandable.
like, look, I think Mandos are cool, and the bounty hunters are going to be cool. But I really like all of the Empire boxes that have been teased or revealed. Like the Thrawn box, that's going to be cool. The Crosshair box, that's going to be cool. The Veers box, that's going to be cool. Like, I love all of them.
Yeah,
So,
no, fair enough.
I think probably that's what I'm most. They're the 3 boxes that I'm kind of most excited for.
Yeah. For me, long way down the track. I don't know. I really love Jedi, so looking forward to having a whole bunch of youngling child soldiers to send into battle. For me, yep. Go sacrifice some kids.
Scar them
Just
for life.
Just get rid of that pent up frustration from working with them all day. Just send them out to get slaughtered. That'd be great.
This is the way.
This is the way. Yep. All right. We have to
Wait,
flip.
we got to talk about. No, we're going to talk about our patrons
I was
because
just about to say we got to flip a card we put in reserve. The
Oh
Patreon
yeah,
card.
yeah. Sweet. Sorry.
No, you're all right. You're all right.
Screwed
That's what we
up.
do. We jump at each other because we have jetpacks. All right. You tell me. What about these patrons or Patreons or whatever you want to call them?
They're patrons. We still have the 2 from before. So thank you to Jesse, JB.
Captain
Appreciate
Cook.
it, and Captain Cook, yeah, or
Yeah.
Koo, or whatever.
Mate, we'll call you whatever you want. If you want to be called Big Daddy, tell
Yeah,
us.
just let us know.
Yeah,
Let us
we'll
know.
happily do that for you. Yeah.
Again, it's like thank you guys, but we kind of don't really do it for that. But look, if anybody else is crazy enough to want to give us money, then you can check us out on what is it, Red Mando Cast on Patreon.
Yeah.
Patreon, Red
And
Mando
we are
Cast.
looking soon. Soon there will be our Red Mando Underused Characters League. We're working on setting that up. And
Yeah,
I know how much you hate TTS. So
No,
get your
look,
game,
my
get your
thing.
games in real life
Yes,
though if you can, because we live close enough to each other
yeah, that's
generally.
true. Look, my thing with TTS is it's fine if you're playing on TTS with your mates for fun.
Yeah.
What I dislike about TTS is when people like want to take it really seriously, so put it in a competitive environment where the maps don't work, there's hidden hitbox issues on the map, the models don't move as you would expect. The tools are clunky and difficult to use, and then somebody's like, and have a chess clock, so you're under time pressure with all these issues with the mod. I just, I, I, I understand why people are like, well, it's the only way for us to play online and internationally, blah blah blah. Of course, yeah, that's fine. I just hate that aspect to it. But for something that's just a bit of fun with your mates or with your, a smaller community like what we're trying to do with this league, it's great. It's great for that.
Yeah.
Fine. Use it like that.
Very cool. Sure. So, we're gonna get into shots from the crowd. And we have four. I've kind of broken down to four questions
So
today.
shots from the crowd is questions that people we asked for questions earlier today, and these are the questions that people put up. That's why I asked.
That's right. And so we kind of tried to answer some of the questions throughout the rest of the episode. And these four questions in particular come from one of our patrons, JB. So the first
Three.
question here, sorry?
Didn't you only ask three?
He asked three, but I broke it into four because one of them
Oh
was
right,
in
right. Sweet,
two
sweet, sweet.
parts.
It's two-parter. Yeah.
Yeah, he loves to confuse us with the two-part question. No. So the first question then is what would we consider some good terrain for setting up a game? And I think we might have some idea of answering this, considering I think you and I did the bulk of the CanCon tables.
Yeah, we did. We did also get input from the community,
Of
and
course, yeah, no, 100%.
there's lots of people that run events in other locations that aren't
Yeah.
necessarily near us, and they gave good advice. And I think most people give fairly similar advice, but it is it is really interesting because I think different communities have different types of tables that they put out. I know some people who only have like one set, they go, this is my layout. So they've, thought about a layout, they know what the layout is, and they rebuild that layout every time they put the stuff down. And I think that's cool. It's cool when somebody's done that, but also it kind of feels a bit one of the other issues with TTS is because there's only a limited number of maps. You can kind of train for the map. So you can go, I know if I start here, I know that a dash gets me to this ingress point, which lets me get within two of this objective, and you've kind of trained yourself on the map rather than looking at the map as it comes, or the layout of the terrain as you hit the board, and then adapting to it on the fly. So I think one of the things that I would consider if people are like, this is always my layout, is it kind of hampering your play, or is it giving you a unfair advantage against other people who may not be familiar with your layout?
Yeah. I think I know that we had this question asked in the community a little while ago, and Dualvar, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, mentioned that you kind of want to keep the objectives at different heights, but not have everything super high to not benefit teams that can jump. And the objectives that are on the ground level always have scatter terrain around them in some way or another. So I think that's a really good idea. Obviously, Shatterpoint is a game that works on levels, despite the fact that it's 2D. So having objectives at different heights really makes those decisions made more important. But also then having scatter around, so you can't be knocked off gantries really easy, or you can't be pushed off points super easily. Having choices about where you position, really important there. So just a couple of things, obviously, to think about when we are putting your tables together.
Yeah, so I think if the key point there is to have objectives at different heights, and I think also is not to make it super easy to get between those objectives.
Yeah.
Right. So there's no point in, say, putting the middle objective at, say 2 elevations up, and then having each of the side objectives at 1 elevation up with a convenient ingress point that is 1 dash away. So like that's kind of meaningless, right? Because now everybody can easily get between those 3 points without any difficulty with just a little dash, and it I think it removes some of the tactical ability that you may need to consider in your squad building and how you approach the table, so how you play on the table. I think the scatter point, the scatter terrain thing is a really good point, because one of the issues that I see, and I think people have problems with characters or units like Django and Maul, is that if you're on a point, it's almost impossible to stop one of those characters from pulling you off that point.
Yeah.
Because they've just got so much movement, and then they've got so much ability to, displace you. But if you have some scatter terrain in some convenient locations, now it could actually be harder for them. They can't just necessarily from the starting position go, well, I just focus and then I jetpack and then I pull you off the point, and there's zero that you can do about that, which I've had that happen to me a number of times recently.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas if you potentially, like, it's fine to allow that on some of your objectives, but not all of the objectives. So I think putting some scatter terrain around that will prevent that, or at least make it harder, or mean that you can play kind of smart. You can play smart to prevent that. I think is actually a really important key point. So when I put my gantries out and stuff now, when I'm making a table, I'll try and put the crates that come in the box in a few key locations, so that it's not just push city or pull city. And there's those characters with the diceless displacement, just their utility just gets even more magnified when there's no ability to stop those pulls and pushes.
Totally understand. Cool. So the next question JB asked was, what kind of terrain packs do we want to see come out for Shatterpoint?
We kind of spoke about this before, right?
Did we?
Right at the start, we were like, you want more variety.
So I'll tell you what I want exactly.
Okay.
I'll be very specific. I want some pod racing. I want like a couple pod races, and then kind of like natural, like maybe like a rock bridge for a gantry, and maybe some. And then these things might not be so modular, but it's kind of like some rock formations that have kind of like flat tops that you can stand on. So I think that would be really cool. It'd give like a different feel to a board and its official, AMG, Shatterpoint terrain. So, I'd really like pod races. I think they're cool.
I think that would be cool. I'd like to see some more options for higher elevation. So right now there's high ground that comes with that array, and
Yeah.
that's kind of, or you can build the towers. So the towers are the sort of, I don't know what would you call them? I'll call them like a 2x1 piece
Yeah.
that then
Yeah.
has that second level. They're sort of your only options for getting stuff up
Height
to
terrain.
sort of,
Or elevation
two
yeah.
elevations off the ground. So I'd like to see some more options for higher stuff. And then like you said, alternative type terrain. So yeah, some rock formations would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. With flat tops, right? So you're talking about scatter rocks.
No flat tops, so that you can get people up onto them.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more vehicles as well.
Yeah, agreed.
So, maybe some TIE fighters or some other space ships that are designed for us to be able to play, right? So there, you can buy toys, or you can buy scale models and stuff like that, but they're not really designed to play Shatterpoint on. So I'd like to see, some ships that have some flatter areas on top, so that you can fight across the ships.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Cool. All right, so this, I mean, maybe possibly ties into the next question. JB asks about some interesting mechanics that we'd like to see possibly introduced. So things like the trap card from the Ewoks, or the tease of the Flamers, or like Veers' ability. Is there any interesting mechanics that you kind of had running around your head?
I think they're all cool. I think the trap card was really interesting to see. Like, when we, obviously, in our first episode, go back and listen if you haven't. We talked about the trap card. I think it is cool to see that they're doing some interesting things like that. JB mentioned that he'd like to see some terrain features that can be interacted with. I think they started doing that in MCP, right? Like,
Just recently, yes.
yeah, just recently. So that'd be cool, right? Like, it'd be cool to have some kind of interactable terrain.
Yeah.
You can do it now though. Like you can have.
Homebrew it.
Well, no, 'cause depending upon what it does, right? But you could have one thing that would be cool is you could have ingress points that are not connected, right? So right now we have ingress points that are laddered,
Yeah.
but you could do like a turbo lift or something type ingress point
Yeah.
that
Okay. That's what you're
takes you
saying.
from like takes you from one point on the board to another point on the board, like a teleporter type thing. So something like that would be kind of cool. But yeah, I'd love to see what they're like. I'd love to see what all the stuff that I was excited about. Right. So
Yep.
Veers, really want to see what he does. Good soldiers follow orders. The flame, the flamethrower in there,
Flamer. Yep. Yep. Yep.
and then whatever Thrawn has, like all the
Thrawn. Yeah.
cool,
Those three
like
things. Yeah.
they're the three boxes that I said I'm most looking forward to, and they're the three boxes that are gonna shake things up a bit.
Cool.
What about you? What about you? What would you like to see?
All right, all right. So I'm gonna go way out the box. I'm gonna go super out the box. I want to see Jabba the Hutt come with a Rancor, and so the Rancor as a secondary, and the Gamorrean guards as your support. But the Rancor counts as any height, so he can be like on because he can't climb, right? But people are pissed, like well, not pissed, but shit scared of him, and so he can just like grab you and attack you from any height, like from where you are, as long as he's within range. I think. I'd really love a Rancor. Like, how cool would that be? Just any height. So you can contest objectives mainly, because I don't think Jabba's gonna be movable. I think he'll just sit on his what do you call it, a palanquin, and just sit in the back and like hold one point and not move and can't be targeted with ranged attacks. You just keep him at the back of the board, and then just the Rancor goes and wreaks havoc, and the Gamorrean guards. That would be really fun. I think.
I, but
But
how
any
does
height, just any height.
yeah,
I was
but like
trying to.
how does it move through terrain? Or do you just go, are you just blocked out? You just can't there's a gantry here, you're stuck.
How does it move through terrain? So I guess as long as the tool can, because it just goes, because it's like gonna
Okay, yeah,
count as
that's
like
fair. So
height
you're
4,
like
it just goes to the top.
so yeah, so you just go so long as my advanced tool can get through this terrain, I can end up on the other side of it.
I mean,
And so
why
long as
not?
my
He's a
model
Rancor.
fit.
He crashes it down and shit. Like it's cinematic.
That's fine, that's fine.
Or he climbs on it. We all saw Boba Fett. Unfortunately, they do weird climbing stuff. So for me, Rancor
It'd be
with
cool
Jabba
to
the Hutt.
have like a Sarlacc pit, and every activation it randomly attacks in a direction.
Oh yeah, and then you have to maybe make a defensive check against it, and if it gets a certain number of successes against you, you get pulled range
Yes.
3, and if you end up in the Sarlacc pit, you take a damage.
Yeah, so like it can do something like it picks a direction, and you could just have a quarter or something, right? Like it picks a direction that it attacks in, and if you fail some kind of roll, you get pulled range 2 towards the Sarlacc pit, and if you touch the Sarlacc pit, you're
You take
like
it.
yeah, or you
I
get
like it.
wounded or something, right?
Oh,
Like
I
that'd be
like it.
cool as
I
well.
like
That'd
it.
be cool as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Or like when you activate the Shatterpoint, kind of like Sabotage Showdown. When you activate your Shatterpoint, you get to use the Sarlacc pit at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be cool too. That'd
So
be
you can
cool
just
too.
pick an enemy, and it's like, "Fuck you, Vader, get in the Sarlacc pit." I like
That'd be
that.
cool. I'd like
Yeah.
that. But yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, we have one last question, and you being a TO and a pillar of the I was going to say MCP, no, a pillar of the Shatterpoint community here in well, the place we live. I'm going to say it. I almost did. South Australia is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, that's what I was going to say. How do you build a healthy community?
And how do you keep it going? That was
Oh, is
his
that what it
question, right?
says?
Yeah.
I'm not even on Discord. I'm sorry. I wrote it
The
down.
um man, I feel like this is a tough question, right? Because it's such a hard one, right? Because if you love the game, like we love the game and we wanna play, but you also don't want to just play the same people all the time. You want to play new people just to give you some variety. I guess that's another good point for TTS. But I think at least for me anyway, I would much rather have a 3 rounds of playing people at an event where you can see people, see their models, see the hobby, see the tables they put together, go for lunch, chat about the game. That's so much better than playing 3 rounds of TTS, right? Like, so I
Agree.
think that the in person experience is so much superior. So I think everybody would prefer to have that kind of community. But it's really tough, right? Because it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort. You can have events, and I think you have to have events. Like you have to have physical events, and you have to try and drum up support for those events. And it can be really tiring because you can just feel like I'm just harassing people to try and get them to come to these events. But that's kind of it's almost like you kind of have to do that.
Yeah.
So I think it's one. Sometimes it's just luck, right? Sometimes you're just going to find there are enough people in a geographic location that are keen and interested and want to play this game that you don't have to work too hard to do it, because otherwise it's really hard because now you have to go and grow the community, right? And that's tough because how do you grow the community? It's through people. It's like trying to rope in your friends, or rope in other people who play other games, and that could be their focus. Like maybe they're X-Wing players, maybe they're Legion players, they're MCP players, they're Kill
Or they
Team
love
or
Judgment.
40K or whatever. Yeah, like there's lots of games that people will play, right? And it's hard to get them to spend their limited hobby time and
And
their
money.
limited play time and their limited money on picking up a new game.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what you kind of need to do, right? You need to have events, you need to have regular events, you have to, I think, have some kind of community, virtual community. So it could be a Facebook group, it could be Facebook chat, it could be Discord. You need to have those, because that's a way for people to, one, you can contact people, it's a way for people to find other people, it's a way to, you know, get the community still happening even though they may not be able to meet face to face. And I think you just have to just keep putting the effort in and keep running the events even if you only get 4 people showing up. But yeah, I think it's tough, right? It's tough because it's hard to maintain everybody's enthusiasm all the time. Stuff happens, people
Yeah.
have kids, they get new jobs, they decide they're going to study something new, they move, they get busy, they go on holidays, all this other stuff, all this life stuff happens. Yeah, so it's hard, but I think yeah, it's just, and partly it's like the community needs to want it as well, right? Like the
That's a good
community
point.
needs to want to have events. The community needs to show up. If if you're like, I've run 3 events over the last 3 months and only I showed up, maybe there's not a community, unfortunately,
Yeah.
which sucks. But yeah, I'm not sure what, you can't make people play. What do you have thoughts about
Pay
how
them.
to?
You could pay them to play.
I
No.
guess you could, but do you have thoughts about how to build and keep a community healthy?
Look, I am following your lead. Do I know? Not really. I think it's really hard for me to make a comment and say what could be doing, what we could be doing better, but without offering a proper solution to that. And I don't see us having a necessarily an issue. The game is still only quite young, and I think people are still working on converting friends. I know I'm working on converting a couple of friends. I think they've come to a couple of our community days, and for them, it's time and money, the investment. Now, obviously, I've got a lot of the models, and I'm happy for them to, use them, borrow them. I'll paint them up for them as well. Like, I don't mind doing that, but I think people are really time poor, and convincing someone to give up their time with their, sons and daughters and wives and girlfriends or boyfriends or whatever it might be, right? That's going to be the hardest thing. So, yeah, I think you're doing a great job, obviously, doing it here in Sydney. At least, the Combat Company has a pretty healthy showing consistently. So I just doxed us, but whatever. I didn't mean to do that. That just kind of
Yeah,
came
it's
out.
fine. We've talked about it, our events before. But yeah, look, I think it's super tough. If somebody has some input, please please let us know of good ways that you found to grow the community. We've got a Discord.
Yeah.
You can join that. I think in some ways it's kind of bad, right? In that we have our own little Discord. I'm sure Space Slugs. I know Space Slugs have their Discord. I know, like, other podcasts that I listen to, they've got their own Discords. Like there's a Rogue Support Discord. There's a Gamers Guild Discord. There's Rich Mid has their Discord, and it's kind of like that kind of fragments the community as well. That there's like
Yeah, we
a
shot off.
million, there's a million discords, right? And it's like you can't. How many times can you have the same conversation across all of the discords? You're just like, can't be bothered. You kind of
Yeah,
you pick one, and that's your discord, which can kind of suck when you've got something like maybe a country or region based discord, and you're trying to build that one, and it's like, well, people are just talking in all these fragmented discords, but I'm like, what can you do? It's sort of it's tough. Like people want to when people find their community, that's the one, they find some friends or whatever, or they just like the style. That's the one that they stick with, and that's the one that they talk most in. I think it's good to still keep that contact between the different communities. But yeah, it's tough to keep the community healthy.
yeah, I feel for you.
I
Glad it's
mean,
not me.
look, I mean, it's sort of like I'm happy to put the effort in, and like I said, if the community doesn't want it, well, then what can I do? Like, I'll just keep just playing with my mates. Like, I'll just play you. I'll play,
My mates.
Jesse. Yeah, Jesse. Play Jesse, JB, or Cook, Mister Cook, Captain Cook. I'll
Yeah,
just play
look,
the people play the people that I know, but
I'll
like
play the people who
that's
pay
not.
you, right? They pay to play,
Yeah,
right?
or the
Yep.
or the people that play it. But that's not what you want as well. Like I think it's tough because people go like I've had people say, it's just not as big as like Games Workshop games. I'm like,
Hello,
yeah,
it's 6
like
months old.
like it's that, but it's also Games Workshop they spend the money to have a store in sometimes
Every
generally
suburb.
in suburbs where they're going to get foot traffic. They're going to have people that walk past and go, "What's that?"
Yeah.
Right?
Also,
And
don't play Games Workshop games. They're shit.
yeah, but like from a bringing new people into the hobby perspective or bringing new people into a game, they pay to do that, right? Like they pay a lot to do that, and it's hard, you can't really compare the two. It's not like you're ever going to be for the people that know the place. Combat Company is amazing. You should go to their website. You can buy lots of stuff there at a good discount, and their physical location is great because they have lots of space for playing, and the staff there are amazing. But nobody is ever going to walk past that store and go, "What's this?" People
No,
are going
not
to go,
not by
"I
accident.
know." No, they're going to say, "I know what that store is, and I'm going to that store." So if you don't know the store, you're not going to find out about it.
Exactly. Yeah. No, agreed.
And even other places that I play, like I play at a Good Games near me, but and they've got some boxes on the wall, and yes, maybe somebody might walk past there, but they're not actively promoting any particular game. They've just got stuff on the wall, and people can look at it, but it's not like GW where you walk into the GW store and they're like, "Oh, hey, what are you working on at the moment?" Like they don't. It's not like that at all, right?
Whoa,
So
that's a perfect. What's it called? Fuck. It's so late. I can't even think properly.
yes, but anyway,
Impression
so
is the word. Fuck.
yeah. Anyway, so I think how do you build a healthy community? You just have to luck into a community a little
You
bit,
don't
and then you
build
have
it;
to
it builds you. No, I don't know.
and then
Some
you have to support it, right?
philosophical
That's the
shit.
main thing. You have to
Well, that's
support it.
it.
All
Well,
right. Do we
great
have
answer.
anything else? Was
Like
there
and
one more? Was there
subscribe.
one more question?
No,
There was a
that's it.
question here. When will we start kidnapping? I mean, accepting foundlings. I mean, I think if you want to be a foundling, there's a Patreon.
Did he say when do we start? Because
Yeah,
it's
I think we've
already
already
started.
kind of done it. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't tell anyone. Oh, hang on. There's a question I totally missed
Oh yeah.
from Prometheus.
Yep.
What meta changes and implications for the overall game do you think will be resulting from these upcoming releases? Again, it's all kind of speculation. Really hard to say at the moment, but I think perhaps Veers and Thrawn are going to bring the most. If anyone is going to bring those meta changes, it's probably going to be them, I imagine.
Maybe Hera, because we haven't seen Hera yet,
Good
and
point. Yeah.
yeah, because as I said before, Kanan is a little bit of a basic, like there's nothing on his card where you go, oh, that changes things up. It's all like seen it, seen it, seen it, seen it. So he's not going to shake it up, I don't think. So
No.
it really depends on what Hera brings. She may
Yeah.
shake it up a little bit. And then something like Thrawn. I think Thrawn will hopefully shake things up. And then Veers, because obviously who knows what's going to happen with this AT-AT strike.
Those bombardments, they're really cool.
Yeah. All right, man.
I think that's about
That is
That's
it.
about it. I think that wraps us up. Well, thanks for joining us on another episode. I know this was a long one, but we did cover a lot. Make sure that you keep those stance cards exactly where you want them, and don't forget that this is the way.
This is the way.
I'm a Mandalorian. Weapons are part of my religion. This is the way.
I always forget how to start recording. There we go.